I think everyone has to be muted.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, this is a brief introduction about Dr. Steve Paul. He has completed his MBBS in Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Diploma of National Board Medicine, and Diploma in Geriatric Medicine, and is currently pursuing PhD on frailty and dementia. He has over 10 years experience in the field and has also served as associate professor and HOD at Jubilee Medical College and Medical Institute, Thrissur, Kerala. He was instrumental in setting up the Division of Geriatric Medicine at St. John College in Bengaluru. His area of interest are dementia, Parkinsonism, frailty, and falls. His research interests are in polypharmacy, malnourishment, elder abuse, dementia, and fall in elderly. He has many national publications to his credit too. So this was a brief introduction about Dr. Steve Paul. Sir, welcome to Dignity Foundation All India session, sir. Over to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Am I clear? Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
I need to share my screen. Will the host allow me to share my screen to put up my PPT?
Yes, 1 second. Mukta, I think you are the host.
Hmm.
Can you make him the co-host so that he can share the screen?
Yeah, 1 minute. Give me a minute.
Sure.
Doctor, you can try now.
Yeah. Yeah, he has been made co-host.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's there. Is it clear now? Can my screen be seen?
No.
No?
No, not
No,
yet.
not full. No.
We can see you.
The doctor's screen is only showing only a part of the screen. The full sporting is not happening.
Okay.
See, we are able to see you, doctor, but we want a full view for you.
How about now?
Yeah, now it is visible. Yeah. Now
Yeah.
we are able to read it. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So my talk for today is healthy aging. My first slides, this is a scene from a Malayalam movie where the host, the hero, is an elderly person, Mohanlal, as most of us know. He says a sentence which means, as age advances, like how so many years have passed by, and like how old fields get withered away, all the plants have withered away, and I alone remain. When will death show kindness to me? Is what he says. This is sadly the state of many of the elderly people in our part of the country. I'm coming to that why so and how it can be changed. If you look at the elderly population in 2015, my slide that depicts, can you see the slides where there are two world maps, one of 2015 and 2050?
I can see. We can see.
Yeah. So 2014, the countries colored in orange and red are the countries with the highest population percentage. As you can see, highest elderly population percentage. As you can see, North America, Australia, Europe, and the European continent and UK. These are the countries with the largest elderly population. The yellow shows a lesser population of 10 to 19%, less than 20%, but more than 10% of elderly population, where the China and some of the Indonesian countries are all involved. Less than 10% of elderly population remained in Africa, India, Middle East, and some parts of South America. But look at what's going to happen in 2050, which is not very far from now. Almost everywhere, it is a reddish to maroon color, where you can see elderly population percentage is expected to grow much more than 20% by 2050. So this is going to be the state of affairs, as we can already see from our railway stations and almost all waiting rooms where elderly patients contribute the majority. With this majority of elderly persons there, this is a huge burden on the health system and on every system, every service system where elderly comprise a huge majority. So the common thinking among our elderly people are, we are old. When do we actually get old? Would anybody like to answer? When do we actually begin to age?
We think old. When we think that we are old.
Yeah, that is probably the best answer. But yeah, that's what I was trying to tell. We start to become old as old as one day, isn't it? A baby born one day old is one day older than the baby who's not born. So we always age, but you feel you're old when you think you're old. It's all in the
Yeah.
mind. So the next, this is a short video clip about a Hindi movie, where Amitabh Bachchan is the father and Rishi Kapoor is his son. This is a very nice entertainment movie where Amitabh Bachchan is a man who is 102 years old and Rishi Kapoor is about 67 years old. And this is a small video clip from that movie.
मेरी तो सारी जिंदगी इसके साथ बीतेगी। ये थकेला पगेला बोरिंग इंसान। मैं 75 साल का बुढ़ा हूँ। वृद्ध। मैंने बुढ़ापा अपना स्वीकार किया है। इसीलिए मैं तुझे वृद्ध आश्रम भेज रहा हूँ। Old age home.
So in this movie, Amitabh Bachchan is 102 years old, but he feels young. And his ideal is to become like this man in the screen who is much more than the 116 or 20, I can't remember. He wants to be as old as this man, healthy. And his son, Rishi Kapoor, who's 60 something, he feels he's old, and Amitabh's plan is to put him in an old age home.
मेरी तो सारी जिंदगी।
So it's about the mind. So, but can we really avoid aging? Now I'll demonstrate three types of aging. One is successful aging, one is usual aging, and one is accelerated aging. Now, successful aging is a person with minimal health problems. He's quite healthy. He visits the physician frequently, regular exercises, diet control. He's aging, but in a normal pace. He's healthy otherwise. The second category of is usual aging. Usual aging is they have signs of diseases, they have chronic diseases. There is ischemic heart disease, they take medicines whenever there is a problem. Whenever there is a worsening of the problem, they visit the doctor, but they are still able to carry out most of their activities they are interested in. And this is a scary picture of accelerated aging. This is a person who is very frail, functionally dependent on others for all his activities. They are socially isolated. They have multiple illnesses and often enter the hospital for the first time in the ICU when their situation becomes very critical. So these are the three forms of aging. So why and how do we decide which are these three paths we should take? That's what I'll be discussing in the next few minutes, the common problems of old age. Now, I'm sure many of us would be having hypertension in this, who are attending this conference. Many of them would be having high blood pressure. The common thought is, I don't have any blood pressure. I don't have any giddiness, no headache. So why should I have BP? That is one common question patients ask us. And some believe that if I start to take BP tablets, I would have to continue for life. So until I have a problem, I will not take medicines. So one thing you should realize is BP, blood pressure, is a silent killer. In elderly, the target BP can be as high as 150 by 90. It is okay. But if you don't have any other major illnesses, only hypertension BP is okay in a very elderly to become up to 150 by 90. But they would not necessarily have any symptoms. Headache, giddiness and all may not be there. But this is the strongest risk factor for developing a stroke. So to control the BP, there are initially non-drug related treatments like controlled weight, avoid smoking alcohol, regular physical activity, minimal or normal salt diet, But if in spite of all this, your blood pressure goes high, you have to take medicine. And this medicine is lifelong. This is not a 5-day course or a 10-day course that you take medicine and stop like antibiotics. So with blood, because our target is to maintain our blood pressure in the normal range. If it requires that you take tablets to maintain the blood pressure, you have to maintain the blood pressure with medicines. Stroke. October 29th was World Stroke Day. I think some of you would have heard about it in the newspapers, or we had a program in Apollo about World Stroke Day. But stroke is this condition where a part of your brain fails to receive its proper blood supply, which can result in difficulty in walking, weakness on one side, vision difficulties, speaking difficulties, and unable to maintain your normal functional activities. This can occur either due to a block in the blood vessel that goes to the brain, or a break in the blood vessel where there is a bleeding inside the brain, or both are kind of strokes. So the most commoner one is the ones with block, and the block occurs due to cholesterol-laden plaques that are already in the vessels. They can be due to diabetes, they can be due to age itself, and due to other illnesses where this plaque deposition becomes more and more frequent, and a part of it blocks and goes into one of the very small vessels and causes a total occlusion. So these are very common in patients with diabetes and other diseases like chronic illnesses, even kidney disease. But alcohol, smoking are very, very high risk factors for this. Regular exercise is important. Taking medications is important. And once you have had even a minor form of stroke, you should continue the medicines for life so that this doesn't happen again. But only until such a problem is there, you need to take antiplatelet like medicines to avoid. Often we have seen patients who have developed a minor stroke, felt better and stopped medicines. That is very, very risky. Diabetes. Most of you would have diabetes. This not necessarily may be due to, it can be due to genetic cause, can be due to other causes also. But patients often think, there are so many myths with diabetes. People think diabetes is because I was taking a lot of sugar when I was young. Diabetes is because my mother had diabetes. Some people feel diabetes is because I'm not doing enough of exercise. So all that may be partly true, but it's not the only reason. People feel if I take tablets, I'll have to take them for life. So I better not take. Some people feel the tablets are not good, insulin is better. So there are many myths associated with diabetes. But one thing remains, that high blood sugars can affect vessels, not only the blood vessels, as I showed in the stroke picture. It can also affect your heart, can affect your kidneys, it can affect your eye. And this can be avoided or delayed by regular monitoring of blood sugar. After the age of 40, they say you have to have annual checkups to see if you are developing diabetes. And in any patient with diabetes, just as how diabetes affects the blood vessels, it affects the eyes also. And you would not realize that the eye is affected until one of your eye completely goes away, because the other eye compensates to a larger extent. So every year you have to have regular eye checkups to see if the retinopathy is developing. The retina is being involved due to diabetes, not cataract. So many people say, I have no problem in vision. I did my cataract was fine, doctor said, but retina is a separate thing. You have to have regular checkups. Blood pressure and diabetes together is like adding fuel to the fire. If both of them are uncontrolled, it can cause multiple other problems. So if you have to constantly check if you have blood pressure readings that are above normal, and treat your other diseases that may worsen the diabetes. Diabetes can also cause kidney related damage. So annual monitoring of kidney and inspecting the foot and seeing that you don't walk without slippers, because a small injury that occurs to the foot may go unnoticed because you may have severe neuropathy, because of which you are unable to feel the floor well. If you have a small trauma to your foot, that can cause a major infection. We had a patient last month. He is a diabetic, uncontrolled. He was putting a scooter stand, scooter's kicker or something. He kicked it, and it struck his skin on the left side of his leg. He let it be for 1 week before he came to the hospital. By then, it had become very severely infected, and one toe had to be removed. Thankfully, it got controlled with that. So many people don't come in the beginning and worsen, the whole picture gets worse. Next is dementia. Dementia is more commonly known as when it affects memory. But people also feel dementia is a part of normal aging. No, normal aging can result in mild memory lapses, but not to the extent of dementia. Dementia is a state when you have memory issues or unable to carry out executive functions, difficulty in behavior, sometimes difficulty in speech, sometimes. All this can be parts of dementia, which is not due to a stroke. And this affects your day to day functioning, such that the person cannot be left independent. So that is not normal with aging, but it is common with aging. As age advances, the risk of dementia is very high. So if you look at the brain, this picture is of a brain, to a slice of the brain. On the left side is a normal brain. The right side is a brain with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is one type of dementia, which commonly affects memory. There are other types of dementia, which not only affect memory, affect other areas of the brain. But Alzheimer's is something which everybody knows very commonly. So people think Alzheimer's and dementia are the same. But dementia is a slow, progressive decline cognitive, memory, executive functions. Sometimes patients may appear to have some memory loss or some difficulty in carrying out their activities, but this may not be Alzheimer's. There are conditions like thyroid diseases, vitamin deficiency, some infections that can cause a picture very similar to dementia. So once a person starts to develop a memory loss, it is important to evaluate and find out what is causing this. Confusion or delirium. Many of you who have had relatives admitted in hospitals, you would have come across this situation. So delirium or confusion is a state where the patient may start to behave differently or not recognize his own people around him, especially when inside the hospital. This is a sudden change in cognition or deficit in attention. Mornings he's fine, by evening he gets totally confused, refuses food, shouts at the nurses. So that's the condition called delirium. This is very common, especially in elderly people, especially in hospital settings, and more common in those with hearing impairment or difficulty in seeing and who are bedridden because of the disease. This also is a sign that there is an underlying neurological problem. There may be a brain-related Alzheimer's or dementia developing, but this is not dementia. This is delirium. This is a condition where acute confusion, because why this is important is patient may be admitted with a small surgery. The doctor has promised in 2 days you can go home, but on the second day patient stops recognizing people. He is either too sleepy, he doesn't eat food, he pushes away everybody. You can't discharge him. No? So this is one common problem that leads to increased hospital stays. Depression. This is probably the most common. I'm sure you would definitely know somebody who has depression. Often it remains unnoticed. But people think depression need not require medicine, because if I have to see depression for a doctor, I have to see a psychiatrist, and then it may appear as if I have a mental disorder. So they avoid coming to the doctors. But this is very common in elderly, particularly because of retirement, loss of role in the family. Because with retirement, there is a sudden change, role reversal. Suddenly you are having plenty of time and you're not able to do all that you did, and you have, because of all the time, initially you may feel excited about having a lot of time. Suddenly you feel this vacant vacuum and you feel you are worthless to the society, and you may have to be dependent on other family members, which can create a lot of emotional strain. You may go into social isolation, and this becomes worse when there is a death in the family, your spouse, and you're suddenly left alone. So this can present atypically, and patients may simply refuse food, starts getting angry at others. So all this may be signs of depression. So one way to prevent this is to maintain a good, positive outlook, maintain good family relationships, ensure that you have adequate social support, plan your retirement activities early, think of what you're going to do after your retirement. What is a small job or thing that is going to keep you busy, and start saving enough of money early enough so you don't have to depend on others. Heart problems. People think I have some breathing difficulty and just pain, but for my age, that's okay. That's not okay, because with age, your heart doesn't get weak. With age, the chances of infarction or an attack are high, but does not mean that with age it will happen. So the moment you have experience some difficulty in your chest, whether in the form of breathing difficulty or very tired suddenly, that may be a sign of a cardiac disease. So heart attack or myocardial infarction, simpler terms would be a heart attack, is atypical. They have, in elderly, they may present with sudden breathing difficulty, vomiting may be a symptom, and acidity related problems are often thought to be the reason. People think this is gas and this is not attack, and they would postpone visiting the doctor until a major event occurs. But heart failure is a different phenomenon. Heart failure is a pump failure, where there is difficulty in breathing due to decrease in the pumping activity of the heart. This also is not normal due to age, but there is increased chances of age-related problems. It can be an attack that has led to heart failure. It can be other diseases that has caused a heart failure. To a reasonable level, this can be controlled with medicines. Urinary problems. This is probably very, very common in most women who, if they laugh or if they just exert some pressure, they pass a little bit of urine. But they are too shy to admit it because they think it's very normal, and there's no reason to see a doctor for this. But this can prevent them from visiting functions, because every time this happens, they have to find a toilet. So they will isolate themselves and go into a form of depression years later because they are not interacting with people. And often the problem is correctable. It may be due to urinary infection. It may be due to a prolapse of the uterus, or it can be due to simple constipation. So bladder leaking is never normal. In men commonly there is prostatic hypertrophy, which this the picture you can see. On the left is a normal prostate gland surrounding the urethra or the urine tube. But with prostatic hypertrophy, this presses on the urine tube and causes decrease in the speed of flow, because of which the elderly man, when he passes urine, he has to wait a long time for the urine to get over. And this irritation of urinary bladder will cause increased symptoms to pass urine in the night. He'll have to go to the toilet like 3-4 times in the night. So that can be dangerous also, because he can slip and fall in the dark. So there is always treatment for this, and this reduces the quality of life. There are patients who pass urine some 10 times in the night, because of which he can't sleep in the night. And he goes to the doctor and he says, I can't sleep. He would still not tell this is a problem. And the doctor or somebody else, probably even the medical shop, would give him a tablet for sleep. And what happens? He takes the tablet. He has to pass urine in the middle of the night. He wakes up, and in that sleepy mood, he falls in the night and he breaks his leg. That's even more risky. So when it comes to falling very now and then, it can result in a fracture. This is again, as you become older, your bones become more brittle. Diseases like osteoarthritis, osteoporosis occurs. Osteoporosis is a decreased mineral mass. The bone loses its tensile strength, whereas osteoarthritis is the failure of lubrication of the bones, because of which there is joint pain. Your knees start to pain. You can't walk. You walk a few meters, your knees are severely painful. So you don't walk, or you take medicines. So both are more common in old age, but there are ways to prevent this. There are ways to treat this. If not treated adequately, this can result in a lot of complications. Falls. People think, she's now a 90, she will fall. That's wrong. Falling is always pathological. There has to be a reason. To maintain a normal balance, you should have adequate eye vision. You should have adequate balance in your ears. You should have good muscle weakness. Your blood pressure fluctuation should not be there. Your posture should be normal. You should be able to walk erect, and your breathing apparatus should be fine. Your lungs should be fine. Your heart should be fine. All these are responsible for us to walk and perform normally in our space. Any problems in any of this can result in problems that can lead to a fall. In addition to this, the environmental factors like lighting, clutter inside the house, wet floors, uneven ground. Often inside the house, there'll be a lot of furniture, starting from the time when you were married to the time your children are married. All will be lying there because you can't sell it off and you don't want to throw it off. So all this will create a lot of clutter inside the house that it is difficult for a normal person to walk. Imagine a person with an eye difficulty and a hearing balance problem. How will he walk? So it is important to look for environmental causes also that can cause you to fall. Malnourishment. it's never normal to lose weight. Even if the older person says that he's been controlling his diet, it is because as you age, your metabolism increases. Your metabolism also decreases, and your food habits also decrease. If you take lesser food, your metabolism decreases. So you would not lose weight unless there is a disease, unless there is a pathological illness. So age-related changes can cause loss in muscle mass and can cause some muscle atrophy. But if you have to constantly lose weight, there is something that is there. Diseases can cause rapid loss of muscle mass. So you have to find out the reason that this is occurring and try and correct those measures before it becomes too late. Because often we think we're not eating good enough of food. That's why this happens. And later we come to know there was a disease which went unnoticed. Frailty is a condition, is a state of vulnerability, because the patient would have a kidney problem but manageable. Patient would have some nerve related problem, manageable. All these problems are there. But once a major infection comes in, suddenly everything goes into shutdown. Your body starts to automatically, everything starts to fail, because that is this condition called frailty. Because all these failure of the homeostatic mechanisms or the body's ability to maintain normal levels are all in a very weak position, but they are somehow pulling the vehicle, pulling the carriage forward. One small injury on one side can cause everything to tumble and can cause very rapid decline. So there are many scales of frailty. The picture on the left is the first person is very active, second person is okay, but has issues once in a while. Third person is vulnerable. If a problem occurs, he will worsen. Fourth person is already frail, then he's on a walker, then he's very frail, then he becomes terminally ill. So because once you are in stage 5, 4 or 5, and hospitalization, if you are in stage 5 and you get hospitalized for a long time, you will go back only in stage 6. You're now going to get back to the previous level. So in order to maintain your good status of your body, it is important to maintain physical activity. And for those who haven't started, this is the time, because physical activity, a high protein diet, and correcting the medical problems is one that can prevent frailty. There are very limited treatments to treat frailty, but prevention is the best method here. A person is described as being old when his skin becomes old, but when the skin starts to become very wrinkled. But as you age, not only the skin loses its elasticity, the skin also becomes more dry, and with dryness there will come a lot of itching. So common home remedies that you could do are use less strong soaps, use a lot of moisturizing fluids. But many patients, what they do, they take medicines for itching, and that can cause a lot of sleep and increased sleepiness or increased drowsiness, and sometimes even leading to falls. Dental problems. The value of a tooth is known when the tooth starts to pain or when the tooth is away, tooth is gone. But when you don't have enough of teeth, your speech is also less clear. Your nutrition gets affected because you can't eat solid foods, you can't chew on meat. Cosmetic problems are there. Of course, I feel this grand old granddaddy looks very cute, but the person may not feel so. So prevention starts at a young age, regular ಆಗಿ brush ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Both the ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲನೂ brush ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, because after the food will remain in your teeth, and if you don't take care of them very well, a small infection is enough. At a very old age, it may not recover with medicine, so then the doctors will be happy to pull it off. So regular dental checkups are important to maintain your teeth in its normal form. Hearing problems. As age advances, there may be increased chances of this nerve becoming weak, agreed, but wax is also a common cause of hearing loss. There are other causes also that can lead to infection in the ears. If that is not corrected, you will have complete permanent hearing loss. Permanent hearing loss, if it occurs, imagine being sitting in a room, imagine watching the TV without putting the sound on. You won't understand anything. So you tend not to watch the TV. Likewise, in Kelsiladra, you're not going to interact with people. Then you stop interacting, you go into the socially isolated mode. You won't listen to anybody, you won't speak to anybody. When that happens, you are using your brain less often, and which is why hearing impairment is a strong risk factor for developing dementia also. It can lead to depression, isolation, and multiple other problems. So even the eye, the same story. Eye, when you lose your vision, due to multiple issues. You are more dependent on persons. You can't walk independently because you don't know what's going around. You can get worried, you can get anxious, and because you don't want to depend still, you would try to walk without looking, and I mean without the necessary help, and you're likely to fall and have an injury. The common eye related problems in elderly are cataract and presbyopia. The picture on the right is the picture of the retina in a person with diabetes. So here, because as diabetes advances, this red spots that you can see are micro bleeds that occur in the back of your eye. These occur due to diabetes. But if diabetes isn't controlled in time, it leads to this stage, and then vision is lost. Operationally in Seriagla, you can put an injection to prevent worsening, but you will never get back your vision. So these are all problems that occur as we age. But how can we delay aging? Most important thing, lifestyle. Firstly, alcohol, smoking, and all in the young
Left.
days, it would have been okay. But it is,
Bitte.
if any of you are doing this now, this has to be stopped. Maintain a positive attitude, go for regular physical activity. If you are not a diabetic, ensure that you take enough. If you don't have any diseases like kidney disease or diabetes, take a balanced diet, take plenty of proteins in the diet, take plenty of water because elderly have more chances of getting dehydrated, and take your necessary calcium and vitamin D and vitamin B12 supplements. Have a positive approach to life. Yoga is helpful. Play games which involve your mind, like reading, crosswords. All these help you to stimulate the mind further and can help develop or prevent brain degeneration, according to some studies. Maintain a positive approach. Volunteer. When I went to Singapore, I was passing the Singapore airport. I was surprised in Singapore airport, even the baggage handling asking us to enter into this area are very old people. I was wondering why are they not? I mean, why are these old people here? I mean, is it because they weren't getting younger people? Then I realized they were working voluntarily because many of the older people there want to live further. They airport and other organizations recruit older people at a old age so that they are able to maintain some amount of function where very minimal support from their side is required. Whereas in our country, after 55, people tend to think I'm old. ವಯಸ್ಸಾಯಪ್ಪ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. This is a common response we hear. ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗೋಯ್ತು. I had a patient yesterday who told me, I'm 80 now, 78 ಆಗಿದ್ದು, ಹೋಗೋದಿಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗೋಯ್ತು. I told her last 10 years back also, you were 78, you were still old, no? So it depends all in the mind. If you think you're old, you can't do anything. And accept the values, strengths, and weaknesses of all. Interact with younger children, interact with your grandchildren. I often tell my parents, invest in your grandchildren, they are your future. Your children may not take care of you so much as your grandchildren will. So that way you develop a bond. It is a two-way system. You also have fun, they also have fun. And never be judgmental. During your younger days, you may have had issues with daughters, daughter-in-laws, sons, son-in-laws. Forgive and don't be judgmental. Don't keep those grudges in your mind, and be happy and try and look for a good meaning in life. Involve time, spend some time for yourself, keep safe for yourself, take care of your own health and your own mental and uh, physical health. How can we ensure all this? See that we are maintained in a good healthy state, we have to have regular medical checkups. One, see that diseases are not surfacing. Compliance with medicines. If somebody has identified a medicine, please take those medicines regularly. Also in elderly, always check with the doctor if these medicines have to be still continued, because there are some medicines that could have been stopped. COVID was a situation where many elderly people stopped coming to hospitals and they were taking medicines unsupervised for so many months, which itself is sometimes harmful. So that is why there are online consultations and all. Not consult and decide which all medicines need to be changed, increased, decreased. See that you are mentally happy, not depressed, and ensure good financial stability, because you need to have sufficient resources to be healthily in every aspect. So aging is inevitable. We all will become old. But successful aging is a choice. What is your choice going to be? Are you going to be healthy aging, usual aging, or accelerated aging? In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. So, like how Amitabh Bachchan said in that movie at the age of 102, only 16 years to go. Yo, that's a positive attitude he kept. So, all of us should try and maintain this positive approach in order to become healthy in the best appropriate way. Thank you. I'm ready to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Steve Paul. I was taking notes and I realized that most of what you said is like a checklist. I'm 76 and it was, about healthy aging and common problems. So it was like a checklist mostly. And I think the best part was when you said, can we delay aging? And then I realized that, sometimes we neglect to go for our regular checkups, even though we might have had a difficult time for various reasons. So I think it was so beautifully planned and so simply and nicely explained. I wanted to thank you very much. And I wanted to thank Dignity Bangalore for organizing it. Thank you very much.
Hello, doctor, can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
See, the BP operators, the digital one, how accurate it is. Sometimes it shows above normal. Sometimes if you do again, recheck it, it comes down. Why is that?
So the digital apparatus is not as accurate as the mercury ones. So whenever you check your blood pressure in a digital apparatus, you have to check at least 3 times in a space of 2 minutes, because it takes 1 or 2 readings for it to stabilize, and only then you will be able to get a fair, appropriate reading.
Example, yesterday morning it shows 160 plus. After a while, third time I checked it came to 136. Which one I have to believe?
Yeah.
Which is the...
You have to take 3 readings and take an average of the 3.
So in the morning, without doing any work or just when you get up?
Whenever you are checking your BP,
okay,
whenever you are checking your BP, take at least 2-3 readings and take an average of it. BP fluctuations also occur by the day.
Oh, you have to take with the mercury one, not with the digital one.
No, normally also your BP will fluctuate in a day. It can go higher at nights. All is a normal phenomenon. So you have to.
Usually morning it will be higher or less. Morning when you get up, what it should be, less or more.
Normally your BP fluctuation is minimal, not severe enough to cause a problem. But some people have severe high readings in the morning. Some people have very low readings in the morning.
Okay, sir.
So whenever you're checking, you have to check twice at least in a digital apparatus.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doctor. Hello, doctor.
Give me 1 minute, please.
Hello, doctor.
Doctor.
Yes.
Regarding BP, I want to ask you. I am 72. Whatever she asked, the same problem is happening with me. I am having this digital BP monitor. What's happening? It always reads higher only. See, maybe around 160, sometimes 160 by 73 or 170 by 85 or 170 by 85. So that kind of variations, can it happen, and how much maximum tolerable? How far we can assure that this digital measurement is correct? Because the manometer, the measurement will be different, correct?
So when you do a digital monitoring, as I said, every reading, every time, suppose you're checking your BP at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
You have to check one at 7 a.m., then again at 7:05 a.m., and again at 7:10 a.m. These 3 readings, take an average of it. That is your BP reading.
Okay.
Not the first one, not the second one, not the third one.
When you have to change the medicine, at what stage you have to see that medicine has to be changed? It has to be compulsorily below 150/90 only.
If you do not have chronic kidney disease, if you don't have any kidney disease, it is best to keep the BP somewhere between 130 to 140 systolic and 80 diastolic. If you don't have any diseases, at an age of 75, 80, it is okay to maintain the BP at 150/90 also.
Okay.
If you have a cardiac disease, if you have a heart problem, it is best to keep BP below 140/80. So it varies. But then there are very elderly people whose BP is, when they stand up, their BP falls to very low levels. So in that case, again, it has to be monitored and medicines adjusted appropriately.
We should
Thank
not.
you, Doctor.
Doctor, can you please give me 1 minute, please? Rajappan here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Sir, now I would like to get it clarified. You don't have any BP, you don't have any sugar, you are not having any complaint at all, normal diet and motion is free, nothing is there. Do you require me to go and check every year, every yearly twice or once like that is required? I don't have any problem at all.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. See, there are conditions called frailty, which goes undetected, which is often thought as not a major problem. Blood pressure you don't have, but are you checking? Who is checking your blood pressure?
I am having low pressure, not high pressure. I am having low pressure.
Are you taking any medicines for low pressure?
No,
All these
no,
are important.
No.
Okay. So then blood pressure is not a problem. You have to check your cholesterol. You have to check your thyroid. You have to see how well you're able to function normally. There are changes in their organs that occur. There may be a lymph node developing. So a regular checkup. If you have seen a doctor in the past month and if he says there is no major problem, then you don't have to see him for the next month. But you still have to see him in a year at least. I tell all my patients, even if you have no problem, come at least 2 monthly or 3 monthly, because things change over time. There will be a development of new problem. The earlier you find out a problem, you can solve it.
Okay.
Because if on routine examination your bone strength is weak, if you don't correct it, you will have a fracture and a fall.
I am already
So
85.
then
I am 85.
only 82.
85.
Only 85. So there's a lot of time.
Okay.
You have to be healthy. In order to maintain this healthy in this way, you have to visit the doctor at least once if you haven't done so in the past 3 months.
Sir, physical exercise walking normal ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದಲ್ಲ ಬಿಪಿನ? You are not
It is
supposed
okay
to.
if you don't have major fluctuations in your blood pressure, you are only taking medicines for blood pressure. It's normal to have normal physical activity.
No.
If you have
Usually,
a heart
when I get up, I do the physical exercise. Then I'll take the BP. We are not supposed to do that, right?
always take your medicines first thing in the morning.
No, I don't have any BP earlier.
Then you can do your normal exercises, no problem. But whenever you are checking your blood pressure,
Okay.
always check when the patient is sitting idle for at least 5 minutes, relaxing position.
Okay.
Always
Doctor,
check the BP when you are sitting relaxed for 5 minutes in a chair.
Doctor, this is Kumar from Chennai. I have posted two questions in the chat box, and I'll read it both. Is diabetic retinopathy symptomatic or only periodic examination would bring out? That is the first question. The second question is tendency of frequent urination during night the only symptom for prostate enlargement or disorder?
Okay, I'll answer both. Diabetic retinopathy, early diabetic retinopathy is not symptomatic. You will not have any symptoms unless you visit the ophthalmologist and he checks your eye. Early diabetic retinopathy. Only in the late stages when you have loss of vision, only you will realize. So it is important for all diabetics to have an annual eye examination. Second question, prostatic problem in the night. If you're passing urine in the night frequently, it could be due to prostate and it could be due to other reasons also. Medicines can cause, diabetes itself can cause. All these are reasons. So if you have, that is one symptom of prostatic disease.
No, my question is whether it is the only symptom.
No, the most common symptom of prostatic disease is urgency to pass urine and difficulty in passing urine. Hesitancy. Urgency is you want to pass before you reach the toilet sometimes.
One minute. I went for normal consultation with the Siddha doctor, and he was asking me, actually, I did not have any symptom, but he was checking my nadi, and he was asking whether the first time you are passing urine in the morning is delayed. That is the question he asked. I was not having that feeling, and I did not have that symptom at all. But he was telling prostate problem, the first time passing urine in the morning will be difficult.
So that's what I mean by hesitancy. Hesitancy is you go stand to pass urine and your urine comes slowly. You have to wait for half a second for the urine to start to come. That is hesitancy.
Oh.
This, as it increases, it reaches a stage where urine will go very slowly. You will take more than 3 minutes to come out of the bathroom after passing urine. So
Okay.
these are the most common symptoms of prostatic disease.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Your presentation was wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Anyone there?
Padmavati here. Thank you very much, doctor. It was very nice, very informative. Thank you so much.
Doctor, can I ask question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I am 80, and in the last 6 months, I have lost 5 kg weight. And people say it may be due to your sugar or it may be due to your aging. My sugar is 150, 200.
But
So-
150, 200 is 150 and 200. Has it been always that way?
Yes, it is the 150 and 200. And aging is 80. So doctor says it may be due to aging or sugar.
If it is wise to check your HbA1c. HbA1c is a 3-monthly average of your sugar reading. If HbA1c,
Pardon?
there is a test called HbA1c.
Hanji. Okay.
HbA1c is the average sugar reading that is not affected because of the food you have taken. HbA1c.
Okay.
The target of HbA1c in elderly is about 7.5 is also okay. If HbA1c is very, very high, then sugar could be the reason, diabetes could be the reason for your weight loss. However, I would still strongly suggest you have to see a doctor and find out other causes for weight loss.
Yeah, I saw
Your,
the doctor. They said there is no reason. You are looking okay. Only this sugar little more is there, and your age is there. That's all. And you have lost 5 kg in last 6 months.
If you have not had a major hospitalization or disease, you require evaluation. You have to do blood tests and scans to find out if there is no other cause. First, you have to confirm your sugars are normal. If sugars are normal, then you should look for other causes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Doctor, I had a question about chronic constipation. A colonoscopy discovered a few years ago diverticuli which were blocking the free flow in the large intestine. And so is it okay to take a natural laxative regularly, or is there any other way that one can fix constipation in a way that, sometimes what happens is that you are not in control. I understand that with aging, our functions, we are slower, not in as much control as we were. But is there any advice you'd like to give for a chronic constipation case?
Firstly, if it is as age advances, the intestinal motility of the intestine starts to reduce a little bit. So,
sorry,
it is
I missed that.
Your intestinal motility starts to decrease. The movements of your intestine are likely to decrease as you age, because of which normal bowel movements are lesser in compared to the previous younger person. So you have to, if you are maintaining your normal physical activity, ensure that you take a lot of fiber in your diet and water in your diet. You can maintain normal bowels generally. You may have to take
Normal
more.
doesn't happen.
If normal doesn't happen, then it is normal to take stool softeners, laxatives like Dufalac, which are cellulose, lactulose.
Softovac.
Yeah, they are lactulose or stool softeners, which are normal to take them regularly. There's no harm. If it is lactulose, Softovac is also the same thing.
Banana also helps, no, doctor, for constipation. Big banana.
Yes,
Vegetable
yes.
and-
But if you
What,
are, but if you have diabetes, you should be careful.
what
Oh,
kind of fiber is
Zanosaf
good?
is an Ayurvedic tablet. Zanosaf.
So Ayurveda medicines contain a lot of other things which we don't completely know. So I wouldn't advise regular Ayurveda medicines. There may be other components which may be harmful. Banana is good. Other fibers are good. Lettuce, vegetables, green leafy vegetables, plenty. All these
Okay.
are useful for maintaining a normal diet.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Hello, doctor.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a question. Is aging and hours of sleep is related?
Yes.
Yeah, as you age, your depth of your sleep decreases. We
Yeah.
have different stages of sleep. So the deep sleep potentiality to go to deep sleep is reduced. So old people tend to be very light sleepers. Their depth of sleep is reduced. So, and their hours of sleep would be reduced to 5 or 6 maximum. 5 hours is good, actually. So accordingly, if it's a person who goes to sleep at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the evening, then you are likely to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So ensure that a lot of patients, what they do, they sleep in the daytime a lot. After lunch, they sleep. Morning, they sleep. They go to bed immediately after they sleep. So not maintaining a normal sleep hygiene itself can cause poor sleep. And then they take medicines and that worsens the whole thing. So ensure that you have good 5 hours of sleep, uninterrupted sleep, and avoid daytime sleeps. Avoid a lot of coffee, tea. Do not go to bed at least 2 hours after food intake. These sleep hygiene techniques will improve.
Is 5 to 6 hours is good enough quality sleep if we get?
Yeah, 5 to 6 hours is good sleep if it can be maintained.
Good
That's
quality.
enough to restore normal strength.
Okay, right. And is sleep and BP also related? Loss of sleep or something?
No, not necessarily. There could be other reasons for decreased sleep, not necessarily due to blood pressure.
No, the people tell that if we don't sleep properly, then our BP rises and all. Is that true?
No,
It's
that's
not.
not. There's no connection.
Your presentation was fantastic. Thank you.
Doctor, one question, last one. This BP medicines, sometimes it increases the potassium. So is there any BP medicines which does not increase the potassium? For example, Telma H. If I take that potassium, the BP potassium was increasing, then the doctor endocrinologist suggested that you stop Delma H. But at the same time, this BP, how to control the BP? Because the potassium was going from up to 6.19, from 5.1 normal, it went up to 6.1. So how to control the potassium within the limit and take the BP medicine? Can you suggest any BP medicine without increasing the potassium?
There is one set of medicines called ACE inhibitors, or these Telma and other sartans come under this group of medicines that can interfere with potassium.
Okay.
So such medicines, if the potassium is always high, should be avoided, and other groups, so there are other classes of anti-BP medicines that can be given. So you should consult your doctor and see which is the best medicine for you. If this is always
This calcium blockers can be taken, right, without increasing.
Yes, that can be taken. That can be taken.
Okay, thank you. That does not increase the potassium, right?
Doctor?
Calcium blockers.
That won't increase the potassium.
Thank you.
Hello, doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
Doctor, I wanted to know if somebody was telling me because of the cold climate, I put socks and sleep. I got BP. So they say that if you put socks and sleep, your BP will increase in the night.
No, that's not true. I haven't heard of anything like that ever.
So, okay, because it's cold, so I put socks sometimes. So that's why I wanted to know.
Doctor, one last question.
Yeah.
If the person is pre-diabetic, can he control the diabetic by his diet, or should he take the tablets?
If a person is, sorry, I didn't get you.
If a person is considered as a pre-diabetic, HbCA is 6 point plus.
6 point plus. Okay.
Okay. Can we control that by diet or should we have to take the tablet?
Is the person already on medicine?
No.
Then
It is,
6
the
is good.
pre-diabetic is there for 6-7 years. It is just like that.
No, just monitor your HbA1c every 3 monthly.
Okay. What is the
And
I am
if you're
79.
you
What
can
should
go,
be?
your 79 means it can be as high as 7.5 also.
No. I am in 6 plus. 6.11
Yeah,
and
even if it goes
6.9.
up to 7.5, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying my doubts, sir.
Hello, doctor. I have one last question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm losing because I'm in USA. So anyway, when I come back to Bangalore, is there any way if I want to consult you at any time, is it possible in Apollo?
Yeah, I'm there every day, 10 to 4.
Yeah, we call
You can
the
come anytime.
reception and get the appointment. I'm sorry.
Yes, no problem. Right.
I can do that.
Hello, doctor. Can you advise
Thank
what
you.
is to be done for frequent urination at night?
So you have to first find out what's the cause of it, because it can be, as I said, a uterine prolapse, diabetes. Some medicines can cause increased urination at night. So you have to
No, I'm
first.
not taking any medicines.
Then
I'm
you have
not
to check your
diabetic
sugars.
also.
Not diabetic. Then
No.
it's best to first consult a gynecologist and see if you have a ureter related problem or a uterus related prolapse that could cause increased urination in the night.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Very nice of you, doctor.
Thank you.
Beautifully given.
Thank you very much.
All explaining.
Very nice session.
Doctor,
Thank you.
at one time, Bombay doctor she has told regarding the urination very frequent. She has given a beautiful exercise of keeping a pillow between the legs and pressing it so that your bladder gets strengthened. Some of such exercises may be there for each one of that. That will be is advisable, I think. That improves. I have practically seen.
Yeah.
Pillow
So that
pressing
is for
bladder.
Yeah. So that's called Kegel's exercises. Useful for those people who have stress incontinence. It's called stress incontinence when you sneeze or cough, a little of urine passing. That is due to weakness of the ureteric muscles. Those type of urinary leakage can improve with these exercises. But
Doctor,
that is not
stop
increased
drinking
urinary
after 7
frequency.
o'clock. Stop drinking water after 7.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
You know, doctor, everyone has been saying last question, but I hope this really will be the last. I wanted to ask you that if we want somebody to consult you at Bangalore, are you a geriatrist or are you a physician?
I'm a geriatric physician. A geriatrician is a physician who specializes in elderly
Yeah,
care.
okay,
That's
okay.
how you have pediatricians.
I was just finding out so that it's easy to identify where you are. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very kind of you, doctor.
Your narration is very beautiful because you have covered all that really as age people think we have got. Every part of it you have covered. Thank you very much, sir.
With patience, you explained everything. That is a greatness.
I think patience is the biggest thing because as we grow older, I think we admire patience in people much more than anything else because most people get very impatient with us.
Patience to the patient is good.
Thank you, doctor. God bless you.
Very much,
And thank you, doctor. You have been answering with your smile. Your smile attracts. It gives reassurance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much.
No more questions, I believe. No more questions. Thank you all for being a part of this session, and thank you, Dr. Steve, again. As someone rightly quoted that you have covered all the topics from head to toe. What a senior citizen has to know, what is the problem, remedy, everything has been covered rather than taking a single topic and elaborating it. So everything is covered and everyone has come out with their doubts and solutions. Thank you all for being a part. And Mukta, you have something to say?
Brinda, thank you. Program.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session. And
Thank you,
thanks
doctor.
to Dignity HO for giving us an opportunity to present this All India session. Thank you so much, each and every one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you for giving us opportunity.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Is it okay?
Thank you, doctor.
Is this
Thank you.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So you can end the session.
Yeah.
Thank you.